What it do? Wait, is this on maximum? Yeah, it's on maximum. Okay, sorry. Mic check type thing. What it do? Happy Valentine's Day. It's your boy Saint Valentine, aka Lil Cupid, aka the Angel of Love. Angel. I realized after editing a bunch of my videos and rewatching them back that I don't introduce myself. I just assume people know that I'm Angel because it says by Angel Soriano at the bottom right of the podcast. So I don't introduce myself often. So yeah, maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe not. Get used to my voice though. All right, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between and outside. I'll be honest with you. I forgot that Valentine's Day was this week. By this week, I mean the 14th. And I already recorded the podcast I was supposed to go out on Valentine's Day. Um, this is going to be really confusing. So I uploaded my third podcast ever on my third When the Day is Done podcast ever on the 8th, a day late because of some editing issues. And so I explained that and went into detail about that. And then continued with the podcast and its theme on the 9th, the morning of the 9th, like 5:30 in the morning, and then continued at like 8:30 in the morning. Basically, I did the podcast, what would that be, like 6 days ago. I recorded and edited that podcast. No, I just recorded that podcast 6 days ago. And then later that day on the 9th, to give you some context, that was 2 days ago. It's the 11th now. But I did that on the 9th. And then when I when I met up with my friend Neo, he was like, "Oh yeah, you're dropping it on the 14th, right? It's a Valentine's Day podcast." And I was like, "That's such a good idea." So shout out Neo. He gave me the idea of the Valentine's Day podcast, and I was like, "That's a really good idea. That's free content, baby." So I don't know if I'll edit it out, but the next podcast coming, which will be the 21st. Wait, is that right? Did I do math right? Yeah, I think it's the 21st. The next podcast coming out on the 21st, it's actually the one I recorded on the 9th. And I still like the theme of it and everything I talked about, so it'll be up. The timing might be a little bit off. I might make references to things that happened 2 weeks before, or technically by the time you're listening to this right now, it'll have happened a week ago, but you haven't listened to the podcast yet, so that won't really matter. But that's just to clue you in because it's going to be a little bit confusing. So, what's the Valentine's Day podcast going to be? Well, I didn't know when Neo mentioned to me the idea of the Valentine's Day podcast. I was like, oh, that's a really sweet idea. I should do something over the topic of love. But I am very not familiar with love, especially nowadays, just because I just am not. I'm not very romantical. I'm not very lovey-dovey. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the people who listen to this daily know this, but I've had, I think, only a handful of girlfriends or significant others in my past. I think back in second grade, I had my first quote unquote girlfriend, but like, what even is that? It's just like holding hands and then like walking together and stuff. I don't know. I don't remember anything from my second grade girlfriend except that she like kissed my best friend at the time. So that's about it. Yeah, I know. But don't really care about that. And then I did some long distance relationships through like kick and stuff. Oh my god, I hate reminiscing. I had a girlfriend in seventh grade long distance and eighth grade long distance. Um, and then in sixth grade, I think I dated somebody as well who was in a different class than me. That's the extent of my relationship pre high school. And then high school, I had one girlfriend in 10th grade, and then one significant other senior year of high school. And then that's my last experience with a relationship. I haven't had a girlfriend, significant other, or anything like that since senior year of high school, the latter half. So that's where I'm at right now in terms of love. So who else to give love advice than the angel of love himself? Uh, Shout out to my seventh grade girlfriend though, Bara Musa. She's the goat. She's the beast of the Middle East. free Palestine and all that good stuff. She's super amazing and super. She's such a great advocate for her nationality and her religion and all that amazing stuff. So shout out her. Uh, yeah, I just really wanted to shout her out because she's one of the exes that I'm like pretty cool with, and see her stories and swipe up, and it's cool to see her making moves and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure she wants to be an architect. Architect. I don't know why I was gonna say architecture. She wants to be an architect, so super cool, super cool. Yeah, so I didn't know what I was gonna do for this podcast. After all, it's like love themed, and I'm not super experienced with that at this point in my life right now. But I didn't super want to reminisce on the past. That's not something I really wanted to do. I didn't want to just dig up the past and give everybody a sob story or funny stories about my past relationships. Maybe when I'm sitting down with another person and the topic comes along, that might be better, but I feel like I don't want to put that on you guys. So what we're gonna do instead is, I think it's a cute idea. Basically, I asked my Instagram, which if you don't follow me, link in the description to my Instagram so you can follow me so you can participate and maybe be a part of another Q&A type thing I do. But I asked a bunch of people on Instagram to ask me for some relationship advice or just questions concerning love in general. And one of my friends, Christian, sent me a bunch. Shout out Christian again. I know he listens to this podcast, and he listens to my other podcast, Schmeef Talk with Neo, link in the description also. But love you, Christian. Love you to death. For the most part, these are going to be anonymous, just because I don't want people's names out there. I probably could put their names in, but like A, respect for their privacy, and B, it's just a lot of work to ask every single person that asked the question, yo, are you okay with this? And are you okay with this? And are you okay? It's just tedious, and this podcast has to be up in 3 days, and so, and then I have to work on the next one, which I guess is cool because I have a head start on it. But I digress. I'm gonna go randomly through these questions, and the angel of love is going to give you his advice or his perspective on it. And take everything with a grain of salt. Again, I haven't been in a relationship in quite some time, but I feel like I've emotionally and mentally have matured a lot since my last relationship. I've learned a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've been through my fair share of heartbreaks and just toxicity as well. So hopefully I can give you some insight on relationships. And if not, you can laugh and critique everything I say and assume I'm wrong about everything. That's also fun, So, first question. Love at first sight, and is there more than one true love for one person? This is wild. I think there's another similar question to this coming up soon, but I do believe in love at first sight, but I fall in love very easily, at least like 5 times a day if I go outside. Even like it's very incel. If you don't know what incel is, it's involuntary celibate. It just basically means like you don't have a choice but to remain a virgin. Or incel is basically talking about somebody who just can't get laid. And so it's often associated with men who like they have no choice but to be a virgin just because they're so off-putting and the way that they think is toxic or terrible. And yeah, love at first sight does seem very weird when you first hear it, especially if it's not mutual. That's I think the hardest part of love at first sight is thinking that like making eye contact with somebody or looking at somebody is a sign or something like that. They could have just easily seen you staring and look back. But if you've ever seen the series How I Met Your Mother, or if you haven't, definitely check it out. You don't need to watch the whole thing, but the whole plot revolves around a dad telling his kids the story of how he met their mother. And the main character is like this 20-something-year-old who's just itching to get married and find the one and find his perfect person. And that really made me believe in fate and love at first sight and, destiny. And there's one person meant for everybody. So that show definitely was made me delusional. Not that love at first sight and that finding the one is fake or whatever, but I do think life comes with a lot of experience and understanding and maturing. You don't really know who you are for a long time So there's people that like marry their high school sweethearts, and that's great. There's people who date like very frequently or have multiple relationships, and each time they think they're finding the one, or and no poking fun at them. Everyone can approach love however they want. I don't ever want my advice to be seen as the right way to do things, but I do wish people would know what they wanted when it came to relationships. But naturally, the best way to go about relationships, in my opinion, is um, when it starts off as a friendship, because I think it's great to like look for love and look for your soulmate, but those sort of things come naturally. I think it's better off to like have a friend and then get understand that you have feelings for them, and then start something romantic, obviously with if they're willing as well, than to come out the gate swinging like I want to find love and I want to have a significant other. Again, not shitting on the idea of specifically looking for love, but when things form naturally, like me and my 10th grade girlfriend, for example, I said this in my last podcast with my friend Brooklyn. If you haven't seen that, again, um, I'll probably put the link somewhere, or you can just check it out on my channel. But the way we started talking, I think, was just through Snapchat. We would just send each other streaks and stuff like that, or pictures, and um, just like close up pictures of our faces, and then we just naturally started texting, and then we just shit just sort of sparked. I mean, I don't know for her, but I definitely wasn't looking for a relationship, and I definitely didn't see beforehand a relationship with her. Like I saw nothing of myself in her, at least for the most part, and I think that when love organically forms, it's one of the most beautiful things ever. I mean, just finding love in a place you didn't expect to find love is hands down one of the most underrated and best feelings in the world. It's absolutely crazy. It sucks looking back at love and being like that was forced, or I wasn't honest about how I felt, or anything along the lines of you not being able to tell the truth, or you seeing things one way and being hard headed about them, if that makes any sense. So I know I went on a super long tangent, but I think I do believe in love at first sight. I feel it oftentimes. Um, I want to believe that love at first sight can bloom into something organically beautiful, but at the same time, love at first sight can also seem like a very forced thing. Like I fell in love at the moment. You always get these cheesy tropes of love at first sight in shows, and like an old couple will be like, "We've been married 40 plus years," and I saw her one day in the hallway, and I was like, "Yo, you see that girl? I'm gonna marry that girl," and stuff like that. And that's super sweet. Also, I'm sure I believe that that's also true love, but as much as I want to believe in love at first sight, it just takes way more than that to really combine souls and be one and really um, love. So if you mean love at first sight, like you just have this intuition or this feeling, yeah, I feel like a lot of times I make eye contact with people and I want to go up to them because I don't know, there's just something about them that makes me want to get to know them or have them in my life, and I've experienced that a lot. But also, I've fallen in love with people a lot randomly in the streets of New York. I have what the I have a song about it, serendipity, and I think even by accident I made that song about falling in love with random people I see. And I looked up because the track was called Serendipity, like the track that I used, um, the instrumental I used was called Serendipity, and I didn't know what it meant, but I just ran with the idea of falling in love in New York with everybody I saw. And I looked it up, and it said the definition of serendipity is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way, a fortunate stroke of serendipity, which was in and of itself serendipity. Like what are the odds of me writing a song about a word I don't even know what it is, but I still managed to. Yeah, I don't know if people will believe me. I didn't know what serendipity meant, but I thought the idea of me falling in love with basically everybody I see in New York City in the subway or the bus or walking down the street is really funny. And it happened to work out that way. And I just ended up calling the track Serendipity because it worked. So to wrap that question up, love at first sight. Yeah, I do believe in it. Intuition, something about your soul tells you you want to get to know this person and have this person in your life. I think the best way to approach that is the idea of wanting somebody in your life, whether that be romantically or just to grow with them, and have experiences. And more than one love per person. I don't know. I definitely, that's very, honestly, that is a very new and slightly foreign concept to me. Um, I think it's been drilled in my head the idea that polygamy is bad and to be polyamorous is like, just will always be cheating. But I think if you have guidelines, I don't know if guidelines is the right word. If you had ground rules and you have a general understanding in a relationship, if you and your significant other have a general understanding and know your footing and know how you feel about each other, and then you're open to, what is it called? If you're open to the idea of polygamy and you're comfortable with letting the other person know and having that be clear, as long as both parties are consenting to the idea of more than one person being involved in a relationship, then go for it. If you can't stay tied down to one person, everybody's different. I don't know what that says about you, but I'm no psychologist or psychiatrist. I can't analyze people that well. But if you mean if people should be, or if you think everyone has more than one love in their life, then again, I don't really know. I think here's what I can say about that is I think every single time I thought I was in love, every time I was in a relationship, I wholeheartedly believed that I was in love. That's what I can say about the situation. And looking back at certain situations, I can uh, in a very respectful and mature way say, oh yeah, I don't think I was in love. But that might be because of the fact that that relationship isn't here anymore. I can say, yeah, I didn't actually love her or when we were in a relationship because I'm not in love with them now, and et cetera, et cetera. But every time I was in a relationship, I thought that I was in love with the person. And if you're taking that into account, then that means I have loved every single person that I was in a relationship with. And by that account, I guess technically, yes, there's more than one true love for every person because I truly and honestly did love every person I was with at some point in time. So I guess technically, yeah. But when it comes to like your future and who you want to settle down with and who you genuinely want to spend the rest of your life with, I think there is that one person that is made for you and specifically for you. Um, it's just the way you go about finding them, man. There's really not much else to say. You really just have to really put yourself out there and find them. Again, don't make your, I don't know why I'm saying again, I didn't bring this up, but don't really super go out of your way to rush and force things like that. Even just going out once every couple weeks to, it doesn't even have to be like a bar, just going out shopping or, and being a little bit more social could just lead to something that you would have never have imagined in your life. I've met so many people on college campuses that I wouldn't have thought I'd be friends with, and that's only like in a friendly sense, let alone romantical. Is that a word, romantical? It has to be in a romantic sense. God, I'm so bad with words. There's definitely a chance for you to find love if you put yourself out there. Don't force anything because then it won't be organic. But, challenging yourself to go out and find love is fun. It's fun. It's not like an adrenaline rush or anything like that. It's just a nice way to sort of find some new experiences, maybe meet some new people. And it doesn't even have to be with love. I'm talking about love specifically here, but if you really just want to go out and meet new people, try not to let your social anxiety stop you. It's great to meet new people and grow with people and learn from people and have new experiences with people. So, yeah, I guess there is more more than one love per person. But in terms of people you want to build a future with, I don't know. I loosely believe that there is the one for you, and you should find them organically. But put yourself out there sometimes, and who knows what you'll find or who you'll find. Thank you for that question. Next question. I forgot I had serendipity open on Google. I went back to look at the questions and I'm just on Google and I'm confused. The next question. Am I wrong? My girlfriend cheated on me with my dad and when I found out she divorced. You're the asshole in that situation. If I'm being completely honest, Let her explore, you know? Like, yeah, it's your dad. I mean, okay, that's a little bit weird. I'll give you that. You're not the asshole for, who she cheated on you on. You can't control that, like, let her do her thing. I mean, weird champ, you know what I mean? You're weird. Let her explore and, keep it in the family. You know what I mean? She divorced you again. I mean, like, look at yourself. What were you like? What did your dad have that you didn't have? I mean, obviously you have the same genes and things like that, but I mean, like, look at yourself. You know what I mean? So, all right, next question. Do you feel like it's okay to look through your partner's phone, or vice versa, to give peace of mind? Uh, this is a very controversial thing you see in shows or movies. It's like the partner catching their other partner cheating by going through their phone and stuff like that. Uh, and I, again, like I say almost every podcast, I see both sides of every argument, or at least I try to see both sides of every argument to the fullest extent that I can. I think it says a lot about yourself if you're scared and insecure of the other person cheating to the point where you have to go to the phone. I feel like there should be a level of trust and yeah, there should be like a mutual level of respect and trust and security in your relationship that thought wouldn't even cross your mind. But we're human, we're always like, if you have a great thing going for you and you like feel like you're with the love of your life, obviously, even if you're not an overthinker, sometimes you could be like, this is too good to be true, or just your own insecurities can get in the way of your own happiness, and that's true with a lot of people. And it sucks to kind of put all your like eggs in one basket and have so much trust in this one person, but that's what a relationship is. This trust and that respect that you have for the other person and putting your all into them, because even though cheating is super bad and I will never excuse it, it is sort of a risk that comes with relationships. It's not a risk that should happen, like whenever you get into a relationship, it's not like you should go in being like, what, they might cheat, but that's the risk I'm gonna take. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying relationships in general are a risk. You don't 100% know the person that you're with, and there's a lot of obstacles that you're gonna have to overcome. I feel like you should have some, I don't even want to say maturity, because it's not like it's super immature to go through your partner's phone. It's if you have reasonable suspicions and reasonable doubt, I can see why you would want to. But coming from the perspective of, let's say, like, he didn't cheat and you just come across, I say he because I'm putting myself in the situation, coming to a situation where your significant other didn't cheat, and you ask to see their phone, you just seem very insecure and very um, unsure, and it's almost a sign of like, trust that um, I don't trust that you're being honest with me and giving me all, or you're not putting 100%. Again, I've said this before in person to a bunch of my friends and stuff, but I wholeheartedly believe that every relationship is 200%, and you can give your 100%, but if it doesn't add up to 200% in the end, and you know that you've given your 100%, then you can't get mad when it ends up less than 200%, because that's just, it's not up to you. You can't give more than your 100%. So if you're giving your 100%, and you're trusting this person and they still end up failing on you, then there's really not much that you can do to change about I mean, sure, there's probably one or two things you can change about yourself, but if they end up cheating on you, it, they're really, you shouldn't look back at how you can change and how you can be better and what did the person that they cheated on you with have that you didn't. It's just a complete lack of trust. It's a complete sign of disrespect, and you shouldn't feel insecure, and you shouldn't feel like they're cheating. And if they have given you signs that they're cheating, and they're making it more apparent that they are, I don't think it's super bad. I love that movie. I don't think it's a super terrible idea to, reassure that with, hey, maybe would you be okay if I checked your phone? Like, like when you put it like that, yeah. But in general, I don't think that it's a good idea to check your significant other's phone for peace of mind. A friend of mine, Angel, recently we were talking, and I said something about his girlfriend not adding me on Instagram, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get on her phone on her Instagram and I'll add you guys." And I'll follow you all back or something on her account. And I was like, that's crazy. She would let you like get on her Instagram account. And and then I was like, why did I think that's crazy? Like the level of trust that they have with each other is like, yeah, you can go on my Instagram. Yeah, you know. So on one hand, it's like when you have that level of trust and you know that you aren't doing anything wrong, then giving your significant other your phone isn't a big deal. But even when somebody isn't cheating, it just feels like, I don't know. It seems a little bit disrespectful. It's giving insecure. It's giving like, I don't trust you, and it's just all around, I think, a bad idea. If you guys are at that level of trust and respect, and you can, then that's awesome. That's a whole new, like, it's a deeper level of I was gonna say intimacy. I sound like a broken record, but it's a new level of trust and mutual respect and a bond almost to share the same Instagram account. By the way, not hating on people who do it, but in middle school when people would have like couples accounts on Instagram, let's stop that. That's, I don't know how I felt about that. I'd go on Instagram sometimes and I'd be like J plus A joined account, and then they would make it like 3 months, and then I would just look at the account and it'd be like user unavailable, and I'm like, oh, did they block me? Oh wait, no, they're just not a couple anymore. That's weird, you know. We're not in middle school anymore, but do your thing, 21, do your thing. So to answer that question, I don't think it's okay. But if you're at that level of trust and you have mutual respect, I don't see why the other person would have any reason not to. Thank you for your question. Peace of mind, though, if looking through your partner's phone is going to give you peace of mind, then you should probably find peace of mind in other things and find a better way to spend your time. If it's really stressing you out that much, then you know that you have other problems. Okay, age gaps, loaded topic. But what's an acceptable gap? Feels like it changes based on the ages of the couple. Yeah, this is very controversial, especially at the age where I was at a few years ago, and you know I think it's just a crazy, crazy thing to consider because uh, let me start off by saying it always feels like you're maturing and you're getting older and you're learning more stuff and you're always inexperienced. So like I'm 21 now, but I still feel like a dumb 16-year-old. And no, I'm not going to go have a relationship with a 16-year-old because I think we think the same and we have the same sense of humor. That's not what I'm saying at all. Relax. Calm your horses. Cool your horses. Cool your jets. Halt your horses. What's the phrase? I don't know. I don't know. Halt your horses. Fuck, dude. But I think when you're in a relationship or when you want to get in a relationship, age gap is extremely important and crucial to think about because not only, you know, like don't have sex with minors. I feel like that's a huge thing that should be normalized. I mean, oh my god, that should just be common sense. But common sense isn't super common anymore. And I don't know. Like again, it really strongly depends. Like the 5 year age. Like if you're 5 years older than your significant other, right? And you're like 25 and they're 30, that seems a bit more lenient. But then when you're like when they're 16 and you're like 17, 18, 19, 20, if you're 21 and they're like 16, then you know it's a 5 year age gap. But then it's so different because you're in like what second, third, maybe fourth year of college, and they're like about to get done with their junior year of high school. Like that's weird. Like it's all super relative. Was it Einstein who said theory of relativity or whatever? Things are extremely relative, and I don't know if I can give a precise age gap. I will say, you know, 17 and below, no go. You know, I just don't like, especially if you're 18 plus and dating 17 below. But then it's like you have 17, 18 or 16, 18, and then it's just it's super fucking complicated. It's super complicated and very situational, and there's so much context and work that goes in between it. And I feel like just like, you know, don't date people that are still in high school if you're in like your first or second year of college and afterwards. I feel like just like that's leave high schoolers alone, man. Leave high schoolers alone if you're in your first or other year of high school. Like just I don't know, bro. Like I don't even want to deal with. I didn't even want to deal with high schoolers when I was in high school. You know, so why are you like putting your effort back into something like that again? And I know people who have age gaps of like 17 and 21, and uh like I don't I I'm always at a I'm always fighting with myself because on the one time on the one on one hand I understand that like age gaps are a big problem, and that the mind isn't fully matured yet, and dating somebody in high school when you're much older, there's definitely, regardless of whether you want there to be or not, there's definitely a power dynamic, and all that good stuff, and just in terms of experience and what you've yeah, just experienced in the past, it's completely different, and people who are 17 or younger just simply haven't experienced the world that much. And I'm 21 and I still feel like I haven't experienced the world that much. So if I were to date somebody who is in their senior year of high school, or younger, God forbid, I feel like it'd just be too different for me to understand. I feel like after 18 and after, when you experience college, when you experience a bit of the real world, when you experience life outside of the daily routine that is college. Also, quick shout out to the Right at Home podcast. I My friend Julia and her sister Michelle have a podcast called the Right at Home podcast, and they definitely talked about um oh my god, what the fuck did they talk about? Oh my god, what did they talk about? I'm so stupid. Oh my god, what the fuck did they talk about? Sorry, I had to look back at the audio and make sure I got it right because I didn't want to butcher what they said. But shout out Julie and her younger sister Michelle, because I'm gonna link it in the description. They have a podcast called the Right at Home podcast, and they talked about um, how high school and college differ. And I hope I'm not butchering this, but since Michelle, I believe, is, oh my gosh, 15, 16. Uh, she's anywhere from 14 to 16. I binge watched all 4 episodes of their podcast last night. Super great. Highly recommend it. Again, link in the description. And Julia is, I believe, 20, and she's in college. They discuss the differences in high school and college, and how high school seemed like more of a routine, and college seemed gave you like a glimpse of real life, and you don't really realize it until you're out of high school. But it's like high school, middle school, elementary school, it's just like this endless cycle of like the same day happening 5 days in a row, seeing the same exact people doing the same exact things. And it was weird because I was like, yeah, it's exactly what high school is. And you might joke about it in the moment and being like, oh man, it's this class again. But you don't really realize how on schedule and how much of a system everything is in high school until after you're done with high school. And yeah, sure, you have the same classes and stuff in college, and you might walk the same routes to and fro, but things are so different out in the real world, and so many different factors happen in high school and middle school, even elementary. It really is just a system of show up, go to class, eat lunch at this time, recess at this time, to give the teachers their mandatory 30-minute break, but they're not going to tell you that. um, Classes again, go home, come back and do it the next day, have this work done by before the next day, come in, show your work, go to class. It's crazy repetitive, and you honestly don't think about it because I've said this before. um, life life differs from school because in high school everybody was in the same boat, and we didn't really we weren't able to take a step back and be like, oh shit, we're all in this together, we're experiencing the same thing, and we're going through the same emotions, or at least similar emotions. In college, you're able to take a step back and be like, oh shit, I'm in charge of my life, and I'm seeing that this routine is happening, and we're all in the same boat together of, I don't know what the fuck I want to do, or if I do know what I'm going to do, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And if I do know how I'm going to get there, what's going to come afterwards? Or how is the journey to the top of the mountain going to be? Is it going to be rocky? Is it going to be easy? Am I going to have people to support me? Am I going to change my mind halfway up the mountain? In high school and middle school, you're sort of not allowed the air to breathe, so that you can assess, assert, assess your situation. And when you're in college, you have enough time to assess your situation and do things about it, but it's still a bit of a routine. You're going to class, you're going home, you're doing your work, working on your own mental health. That's a huge thing in high school. You don't have time to work on your mental health. Your mental health comes from the times you spend with friends and the bit of alone time you have when you're at home or with family. And you don't have hobbies when you're in high school. At least I don't think you do. I think that like you might have one or two things you like to do outside of school, but your whole life revolves around school. You have to graduate so that you can go to college. It's drilled into you. You have to graduate so that you can go to college, so that you can get a degree, so that you can have a high paying job and not be like somebody who didn't go to college and somebody who just got their GED and was sent into the loop of the workforce. Um, it's insane. It's insane. So shout out the Right at Home podcast, Julie and Michelle, super amazing. Um, and yeah, they really helped me open up my eyes to the idea of a endless the cycle that it is. But I only brought that up, and that was a pretty long tangent, like 5 or 6 minutes of me just straight talking about how much of a cycle high school is. But I bring that up because uh, in high school and beforehand, I really thought I was mature and smart, and yeah, I had my shit on lock. Like I knew what I was gonna do. I had my plan. But now looking at myself, not even 3 years later, and I look back and I laugh, and I'm like, you're such an idiot. You don't know anything, and that's gonna be the case always. You're always gonna laugh at yourself, and come 2 years time, and be like, what the fuck was I doing back then? I was a complete mess, and you're gonna laugh at yourself 2 years from now, even though you think you're killing it, or if you're not killing it, you might even just have the opposite effect and be like, I kind of handled my life and the situations that were going on around me really well. It goes both ways. So when you're dating anybody in high school, after you're done with high school, it just sits wrong with me. And I don't feel like I have to mention like 10 plus years of age gap when you're like 20, well, when you're like 30 and under. 10 plus years is just straight up unacceptable. That's crazy. And then people do their best to take lines like what I just said and just stretch them out and find like what could be seen as like a little bit more acceptable. And when it's just I feel like it should be common sense. It should be common sense. Don't date people that much younger. You shouldn't feel safe dating people that much older than you. I don't understand why people just can't meet people their age, or relatively close to their age. It's so fucking weird, man. But everyone, I don't even want to say to each their own, because I'm not gonna be like, oh well, if you're 25 and you can't find anybody your age and you met like a really cool 15-year-old, to each their own, because that's disgusting and wrong. I'm saying a lot of people aren't super social and put themselves out there, and through situations they just don't meet people their age, which is why I said in a question or two ago to really put yourself out there, because there are people your age that are super fucking cool. And if that doesn't work out, going to events, or furthering your hobbies and finding circles of people within your hobby, or things you like to do, because let's face it, after high school you really do a lot of discovering and a lot of learning about yourself. If you find a hobby or things you like to do, um, socialize with people who like doing the same things you do. I mean, you're in college, hopefully. You're in college, hopefully, to pursue a career, and the further you get, the more niche your classes get, and the more you see people in your circle. And if you're not in college, go out, and if you have a job, great. You might not have that much time if you're balancing work and school. I don't know. I don't know if you really want a third thing on your plate right now, but maybe you're super productive. Like my friend Angel, again, shout out Angel, has a girlfriend, he's going to school, and he has work. Don't know how he's doing it. Really don't know how he's doing it. I don't think even he knows how he's doing it. But when you're balancing work, and you're balancing school, um, maybe a love life isn't exactly what you're looking for. Certainly don't go to high schoolers looking for answers, because I don't think any high schooler is mature or smart. They're like maybe book smart and stuff because of the information they retain, and they might be experienced because of, unfortunately, a lot of people go through trauma at a young age, and at the end of high school you're really learning a bit about yourself and who you want to hang out with, what you're able to tolerate and accept in people, and you start questioning like, what are you going to do in the future. And I guess in terms of that, you're a bit more mature. But really, you shouldn't look to high schoolers and younger for relationships. If you're in high school listening to this, it is a whole different thing. I'm really talking to the audience of people that are like 18 to like 22, 23 right now, because I feel like that's mainly my audience. I don't think there's any 16-year-olds tuning in like, I can date a high schooler if I want. Like, I'm mature. Like, sure, sweetie, do your thing. I mean, if you're 16 wanting to date somebody in high school, you're in high school. Knock yourself out. Don't be don't be a freshman dating a senior. Don't be taking advantage like that. Don't be the, oh my god, the super seniors. Stop it. Gross. Fucking, oh my god, you're a victim. You're a victim if you're don't. You're not cool. You're not cool because you have like a senior that likes hugging you and likes asking you where his hug is at and stuff like that. You're not cool because you're friends with seniors. You know, there could be some cool seniors, but for the most part, seniors want nothing to do with freshmen because freshmen are boring and they don't know anything. And like, realistically, this isn't going to be like a perks of being a wallflower situation where you find a senior and you're a freshman and they think you're cool and they let you in their circle and you experience life with them. Like, this isn't mid-90s. A lot of the times, if a senior comes up to oh my god, I don't want to say an attractive freshman. That's fucking gross. When a senior comes up to like a freshman girl or something along the lines of that, which I saw in high school. You're fucking gross, by the way. I can see why the freshmen would sort of see that as like a sense of validation or approval, something along the lines of that. But again, I wasn't the freshman hanging out with seniors. That just wasn't me, unfortunately. No, I'm fortunate I didn't hang out with any seniors. I would have hated saying goodbye to them in my fucking first year or heading into my second year of high school. That would have been heartbreaking. So just at the end of the day, age gap is super confusing, but it should be common sense that you just know. Like, if you have to ask if it's okay or not, that's already a red flag, dude. You know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and it sucks that I have to even elaborate on that, because I want to think that it's common sense, but some people just don't have that common sense. Some people don't second guess that, and I'm not gonna be like I'm not gonna be the Cape Crusader and go around telling people that age gap is weird, that age gap is weird, because that's just too much fucking work to do. They should know it's wrong, and if they don't, they need to seek help and find out a way to understand that it's wrong. But I can only do so much, and if everyone's coming to me with age gaps and stuff like that and asking me if it's right or not, then I don't know I'm not gonna be the savior. I'm not gonna tell you that age gap is weird or like right or anything like that. Just stop coming to me for shit like that. Again, see both sides like Chanel, but common sense, people, fucking common sense. Great question. um, do you think deep love and resentment goes together? LOL. I don't even know if that makes sense, but like, does resentment naturally develop with love in your opinion? Yeah, I think it does, and that question does make sense. Um, I definitely did not have to Google what resentment meant. I'm an English major. I know what my words mean. Resentment comes with love all the time, whether that be a few things that you don't like about the person or a few things that um, you had to change about yourself or your mindset in order to please the other person, vice versa. In general, you're going to resent a lot of things when you're in relationships. You're going to change a lot in relationships. Ideally, not too much, but the idea of growing with somebody and becoming a better person for not just yourself, which is super important, by the way, leveling up yourself, but also becoming a better person and the person that your significant other needs you to be. There's no better feeling than knowing that you've changed for the better. And while you might not see it at the time and you might see it as, just changing and becoming someone different, when you look back at things you did to change for the better, at least coming from my perspective, I emotionally matured and became more emotionally available after my most recent breakup, just because I was able to take a step back and realize how much I was hurting this person, because I was able to realize how toxic and how masculine, how my toxic masculinity came into play, how I was not open-minded, and I resented that relationship a lot because it just made me feel like an asshole and like I was wrong. Looking back at it now, I can see, holy fuck, I needed to change. I needed to be a different person. I needed to be somebody for that person, and I wasn't. And that sucks a lot. It sucks when you again, there's going to be a bunch of things in relationships that you resent. I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I hadn't changed for this person. Because just as good as it is to change, it also could be really bad. Um, this person made me hate the way I looked. This person made me self conscious and raised my insecurities because they didn't like this or that. And when you're in a relationship, there's a lot of dependency. Um, Hopefully, you don't have to super depend on them, but at the end of the day, there is a lot of dependency that goes on in relationships. The validation that comes from your significant other, because at the end of the day, whose opinion matters more than the person you love the most, right? So when you don't get certain validation, or when you don't get sort of the approval or the okay from your significant other, the first thing in your mind is how can I change that, or why not, or trying to see why they think the way they do and why you're not enough, or etc. And even when it comes to relationships like really far in the past, and things that, resentment doesn't always have to be um, super negative. Like I said, like I realize I'm happy that I resent my actions in my past relationships, because I lost something amazing that I otherwise wouldn't have lost if I didn't. Um, I don't think I would have learned the lesson I learned had I not lost one of the best things I had. I think that's the best way that I can put it. I had to crash and burn to realize I was doing harm to not only myself, but the person I was with. And it sucks, because now I'm able to take a step back and realize how much I hurt my recent ex. Yeah, again, I had to crash and burn, or else I don't know how else I would have learned my lesson. I would have crashed and burned in a completely harder, deeper, harsher way. So resentment will come in any relationship, and it can come in many forms. And it can be positive, and you can learn and grow from it, or it can be negative, and you can have it cloud up your vision, and just give you so many regrets that you wouldn't be able to move on. So I guess to fully answer your question, um, yes, resentment comes in almost every relationship, most relationships. If they're short-lived ones, then I mean, I guess you can resent the fact that it didn't last as long. But yeah, if it's a short-lived relationship that you don't really feel like anything really happened, it just wasn't working out, then I guess you can resent it didn't last as long as you probably hoped it would, or anything along those lines. But resentment is a really hard and heavy thing that comes with most relationships. And all I can really suggest is that, I know you didn't ask for like advice or anything. All I can really suggest is that you see the best in every situation, um, and try to grow from it, no matter how small. I'd rather a small growth than a long heavy heart. Okay. Uh, yeah. So resentment does naturally develop with love. I mean, the honeymoon phase, obviously. Sorry, I came back to it after I sounded like I was gonna move on. The honeymoon phase of relationships definitely can make resentment seem like non-existence. But like the more you spend time with somebody, the more you learn about them. There's obviously going to be things that you don't like as much, and that they don't like as much, and it just becomes like this whole thing. But it's just about growing together, and if you're willing to put in the work to, become the person they need you to be, um, and level up yourself as a person, alongside them, independently and alongside them, then put the work in. You know, put the work in, put your love in it, give it your 100%, and hopefully it adds up to a 200. That's all I can say on that. Now I'm done with that question. Thanks for asking. Do you love me as much as I love you? No, I probably love you more. I love you more than you could ever imagine. Thank you for asking. Okay, great question. Do you believe in twin flames, or do you think there's multiple loves for everyone? I think I sort of touched on this earlier on, and that's why I said there was a question similar to this. I guess I'm sort of just gonna regurgitate. Oh, it's such a gross word. Regurgitate what I said before. And every single time I've was in a relationship, I wholeheartedly believed I was in love. So I guess in terms of that, there are multiple flames. It's just heavily based on right time, right place, wrong time, right place. And if you believe in destiny and fate and all that wonderful stuff, if you're very spiritual, and along the lines of that. And I, again, like I said last podcast, I don't consider myself super spiritual, but I do believe in people, and I do believe in myself, to some extent. And so I'd like to believe that there is the one out there for me. I just have to go about living my life and making decisions that I'm comfortable with and that I would like to make. And hopefully, if I keep following the path that I'm most comfortable with, an organic love will follow. And that might be stupid to hear. It might be like, oh, you might be thinking, the one doesn't exist. You have to make the one. You have to, settle, and then they'll become your one or something. And I understand that also. Like I said, finding love in unlikely spaces or unlikely places is an amazing feeling. But I don't know, something. The poet in me really wants there to be a fate and destiny, and for me to run into the one organically, like how in I Met Your Mother, how Ted Mosby got all those beautiful signs. Um, I will say in certain relationships I've overheard, and I've talked to certain people about, and just seeing in general on social media and seeing how different people are. People like being with multiple people at once for romantic interests, just for lust and other reasons like that. And do your thing. As long as, again, like I said, as long as it's all consensual, as long as you're being 100% honest with the other person, if it's okay with both of you guys, then, if you want to have multiple lovers or multiple partners, or have an open relationship and keep things, like available, feel free. This is a judgment-free zone. Anyone that comes on here, I try my best to see their perspective and understand where they're coming from, get my input in every once in a while. So yeah, I would like to believe that twin flames exists. For me personally, I don't think so. But again, like I said, every single time I've been in love, I thought they were the one, and I was super in love until things ended up not going exactly the way I wanted them to, or the way that the other person wanted them to. So here we are. Thanks for the question. There's multiple loves for everybody if you consider your family and your friends. Love your family and your friends. Give them a hug and check up on them every once in a while. Okay, bye. Perfect date. When I was in middle school and early high school, I considered my perfect date, and I shit you not, this is exactly what I would say to people. My perfect date would be going on a roller coaster, eating some Doritos, and just getting head. And I don't know what in my mind made those three things come together, but they just all seemed wicked awesome. Um, Next question. Worst? No, no, I'm not gonna end it on that. That's terrible. That's fucking awful. Um, Perfect date. I have a song of mine where it starts off. I don't know how it starts off. I forgot my own lyrics. Um, that's real, guys. That happens. Forgetting your own lyrics or your own words to stuff that you've written down, like it's very common, especially if you've written like a whole bunch of stuff. Like I have like 400 notes. It's not easy to keep track of. We can go to Starbucks in our pajamas. We can buy 2 tickets to Bahamas. We can do anything that you wanna. And if you can't today, girl, then I'll just wait for mañana. Oh my God, such a crazy bar. Um, but yeah, I think if you're talking about like official, like first date or something along the lines of that, um, movies a no go. Maybe if you start off with a movie and then you work your way into dinner, I guess something like that. I guess it would have to be like a dinner or a bar, or maybe some sort of fun event like not exactly ice skating because my feet are not meant for ice skating. Um, but like I don't know, some like fun small activity, maybe like visiting a museum or something along the lines of that. That's super. Going out for coffee, like a little brunch date, and then going to like a museum, and maybe like drawing in the park or something along the lines of that. That would be an ideal day. Honestly, I would be super happy with that day. Like meeting up somewhere at like 11 or 12 to get coffee, and I don't even like coffee that much. I think I said that in song. I don't even like coffee that much. But I think I've always been in love with the idea of just waking up in the morning next to my significant other, bedhead, terrible breath, and just like in our pajamas and be like, hey, do you want to just drive to Starbucks and get some coffee really quickly, and just like drinking coffee in the car like that? That's so romantic. I don't know why. That would be my perfect date, like with somebody I'm already like in a relationship with. That would be like my perfect way to start off every morning. Um, just I don't know. There's something so innocent, something so natural. Again, orgasmic, organic, about just rolling out of bed with somebody and not caring about how you look because you only care about what both of you think about each other, and you know the level of comfortability, vulnerability you have to just look just straight up when you wake up. and just go out like that with the person you love. It's just, I don't know, it's adorable. It's cute. I love it. I love it. So that's the perfect date in terms of that. But like I said, the perfect date in terms of like meeting somebody new or maybe trying to get familiar with somebody, brunch, like coffee and then like a muffin or something like that. That's probably what I would get. Um, like coffee and a muffin, and then go to like a museum for a bit. And then as it gets darker, maybe go to like a park, sit down in the grass, draw together, write together, maybe give yourselves a prompt and write like a short story. That might be kind of cool. I'm a writer. I like writing. So that's a perfect date. That's a perfect date. And museum, I'm not that artsy, but the idea of interpreting art in different ways or seeing how somebody meant something and portrayed it in their art, that's super interesting to me too. Art is another thing I very much so um, have started to appreciate. Shout out the homie Kat, actually. Shout out the homie Kat, because she's a friend I met in Brooklyn College, and she's taking like some art classes, and she worked at the MoMA for some time, and she was always in there. And on her story, she just constantly posts like a bunch of art, and she'd be saying like she's feeling this art piece because it makes her feel this, and she's been feeling very this lately. Super smart girl. She's a math hodo. She's doing her accountant shit. Shout out her. Shout out her boyfriend Stag. Uh, the homies for real. Haven't met Stag. Seems like a great dude though. So shout out Kat. Shout out Brooklyn College. Shout out all the friends I made at Brooklyn College too. I love you guys. So yeah, that'd probably be the perfect date. Thank you for asking. Worst sexual experience. Oh my gosh. God damn, worst sexual experience. I don't even. I guess it would have to be my first. Yeah, my first, and the first is like the worst and the best sexual experience I've ever had. Just because I didn't know what I was doing. It was very clunky. It was very like, again, just I didn't know. It was 100% lust, but at the same time, I felt like I was extremely vulnerable and raw, and I was just 100% naked. They were 100% naked. I was just giving my all to them, and it was just crazy. It was just like, but in the moment and the moments slightly before and the moments following, it just felt super awkward, uncomfortable, and I just felt so lost. And I'm sure they did as well. But just the idea of not knowing what the fuck is going on, letting your body guide, and just communicating through it all, it's weird. It's clunky. Your first time will never be this picture perfect. I'm writing a song on it. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm writing a song based on the first time, which is great. But it's so many painfully mediocre experiences. So yeah, worst sexual experience would probably just have to be the first time, just because of how little I knew, and the times after that weren't that much better either. But I got my footing right. I understood what I liked and what I didn't, and what I wanted to try. And again, a lot of communicating and stuff like that goes into it. Please communicate. Yeah, so that's probably my worst sexual experience. Favorite date? Favorite date? Dog. I don't think I've been on a date, dog. Oh no! In senior year of high school, it's not really super like date, but there was like so many pizza places around where I went to high school. I think there was like four, within like 5 blocks, and that might not be a lot actually. Now that I think about it, because New York, but there was like 4 or 5 different pizza spots that I could go that were just like outside of my high school. So one day after classes were done, I told my then SO, I was like, hey, I want to get some pizza. Do you want to come with me to get some pizza? And they were like, yeah, sure. Where do you want to go? And I was like, everywhere, dude, everywhere. I want to try this pizza and this pizza. And so I tried like a pepperoni slice from I think about 4 different pizza spots. And I was like, it's very self-centered. I think they very much so enjoyed my company. And I appreciate them for that, because it was a very selfish day. I was just going around, and I bought pizza for them too, of course, and we shared. I don't think we did Lady in the Tramp style thing. That would have been cute. But how do you do that with a slice? You could do that with the crust maybe. That's kind of weird. And so we went to different pizza spots, and then they took me to their favorite pizza spot, and I ate the pizza there too. And I think I remember they were just like laughing at me eating pizza and just like annoyed at me, just because the whole date was just me going to different pizza spots with them, and ranking them and being like, okay, there's 3 things I'm looking for. the toppings, which is the cheese and the pepperoni, the crust, and then the sauce, and that's what I'm looking for. And it was just like it was like I was the host of my own show, and I was just explaining to them what I was looking for. And so, yeah, I was like, all right, so this crust is unbelievable, but everything else is mediocre. This sauce is amazing, but the toppings are bad, and the dough is just okay. And so I made my perfect pizza. I was like, all right, babe, this is what's gonna happen. If I were to open up a pizza shop around here, like in 20 years time, give or take, I'm gonna ask for this place's ingredients for the sauce, how this person cooks their dough, and I'm gonna ask where these people get their toppings from, and that's all the day was. It was just like I think not even 2 hours. I think like an hour and like probably like 20 minutes of just going around and then sitting at the place talking and just discussing days and stuff like that. Probably just having a normal discussion about school and um, probably music. But that was probably my favorite date. It was a very selfish, self-centered day, but I think they liked tagging along and they just liked spending time with me. And in high school, I couldn't always hang out after school, and that's why I would come super early to high school because I couldn't hang out after school. I just wanted to get home, get my homework done, and get on video games. So I couldn't always super hang out and go on dates. So when I could, I was like, let's just. I want to do this. If I'm gonna be out, I'm gonna do something I like, which is obviously very selfish. I was super selfish in high school, and I still sort of am now. But honey, we're working on it. So, you know. But yeah, that was probably my favorite date. How often do you date? Not very. I try not to get into relationships. Like I said, I haven't been in a relationship since 2020, 3 years ago. I should probably get back out there, but also at the same time, I really don't. I'm afraid of commitment, like I've said before. I don't wanna rush in and, expect something and get my heart broken. So I don't date that often. There's flings here and there, but nothing super serious. Yeah, I do not date that often. How can you keep your love life? Al- how can you keep love alive throughout the years? Just trying new things, I think, is mainly the main key. Um, because what's better than like having one perspective on things, if not two? It's great to do new things and find new passions and hobbies, and also just getting your significant other involved with your hobbies and getting involved with theirs. Because I know, for example, my significant other in high school. Um, in senior year was super into like art and music, and I super didn't care. Like I was, guys, when I tell you I didn't care, I did not care. I was an asshole. I was like, yeah, I don't get it, I don't care. And I was constantly shitting on their passions and hobbies. Totally an asshole. But when it came to my stuff, they were super attentive and they cared a lot. And it made me feel fantastic that somebody was like listening and heard and like would actually listen to the music recommendations I would give. And um, when I would go on rants about why I think this album is the best ever, or this artist is amazing, it doesn't make a single bad track. And they took all my terrible takes, all my great takes, all my hot takes, all that shit, and they just listened to me and heard me. Trying new things, listening to some of the passions and hobbies your significant other has, digging deep into your childhood and finding out what their life was like beforehand is so critical. So critical. Understanding your significant other is just super important. And I wish I had done that before. Again, not going to be a sob fest, but I'm glad that um, I know this now. I wish I had known it before, obviously, but I'm at least glad that I know it now and taking that little bit from it and growing from it. And I'm gonna obviously apply that in my next relationship, become more involved, and like I said, trying new things together. I mean, there's really no way you can lose. I mean, if one of you hates something and the other one loves it, you could just both, you can both try to listen to each other's perspective on it. Like, why do you like that? I hate that. And they're like, oh, because it reminds me of this and this, and every time I do it, I feel this, and I constantly think about this. And then if they hate it, they're like, well, like, oh man, I just can't stand. This is what really irks me about it. I would do it if not for this, but like, this is really, um, God, I'm talking so much. I'm gonna let my guests speak for a bit. I feel like I've been very rude. You want to say anything? I'm sitting alone in my living room in the dark right now. I'm fucking crazy, actually. I literally thought that would be funny for nobody to talk right now. That wasn't like a cut. That was like a bit. That was like a little gag I did to myself. Shout out if you laughed at that. But if you didn't, you're a completely sane human being. So thank you. But if you both hate it, if you both hate any new hobbies or activities you might want to pick up or just try out once or twice. If you both hate it, you can both shit on it, and it's the best thing. Dude, you know how often I shit on things with my friends about that we both hate, or we all hate? It's fucking amazing. There's so much reassurance and just making people laugh by calling something shit and calling it out. Obviously, art and all things are subjective or whatever, but it's great to shit on things, movies, shows, activities, sports, games, clothes. I don't know, fucking just But when you both like something, the odds are you might like them for different reasons. So just talking about new activities or trying things out and discussing them afterwards, and even going new places, even if you're not spending money, even just again like going to like a museum or acknowledging the buildings, going to a park and being like, I've never been to this side of the neighborhood. I like this. It's kind of dirty, but I like this. I like the people around. The people seem friendly. The people seem mean. There's so much to talk about. People literally run out of date ideas and stuff like that. Just go outside and walk. I mean, it's great to like obviously get food and talk and stuff like that, but just experiencing the life around you and stuff like that is amazing. Okay, yeah, sorry, like I was saying, just trying new things. That's how to keep it alive. There's, there's no reason you should run out of things to talk about. And even then, super underrated, just being silent with somebody and enjoying their time. And I think I saw a clip of like Mac Miller talking about like what he wants to be like when he's older or stuff like that. And he pointed to like an old couple and they were just like completely silent, just sitting back and just enjoying the view and shit like that. Like that's beautiful. What's better than what's more impressive than being able to be entertained by somebody is to be completely content in silence. I think that's probably one of the best feelings, is to be able to sit around and enjoy someone's presence without the need for conversation or noise. What's more impressive than being able to be entertained with somebody is being able to I'm sorry, I just got a text from Neo, that said, yo, bro, when was the last time we had a laundry day? It's been a minute. If you don't know, Neo has tricked me multiple times to do laundry with him, but it's always a vibe. It's always a vibe. We always do laundry and then watch a movie or something, or watch a couple episodes of a show, and maybe get pizza or something like that. But yeah, I'm starting to realize how fun chores are. I like doing chores. I like cleaning my room and organizing my laundry and um, even just doing laundry, like going out and putting everything in the washer and stuff like that. It's just so relaxing. And I listen to a podcast and make a whole day out of it. It's literally amazing. Sorry if the background is a little bit loud. My brother just showed up, but yeah, I'm just gonna quickly respond. Yeah, say when, and I'll pull up. Yeah, yeah, doing chores with your friends underrated. Okay, I might have to wrap this up soon. Uh, I'll rapid fire some questions. What makes a relationship healthy? Trust, understanding, communication, and honesty. I guess like I think I said truth or something. I don't know. There's so many important parts to a relationship, of course. Being honest with somebody, regardless of how it might make you feel. Honesty, obviously, the best policy. Being honest, communicating with somebody as well as you can, understanding. You got to be compassionate and understand where they're coming from, and hopefully they can be understanding of where you're coming from and not be hard-headed and naive. I know I was that way for a while. I know some people who were like that way for a while. And yeah, just be honest, communicate well, understand well, and trust each other. If for any reasons you're not getting any of those, again, communication is the best method, and not acting on emotions, and rather taking some time to fully analyze things and just uh, see things clearly. It might be hard to act rationally when you're so full of emotions. So taking time to really consider things, take a step back, and understand the situation that you're in, and act accordingly. That's a healthy relationship. What lessons have you learned in your past relationships? I've learned to be more open-minded. I've learned to show that I care more. I've learned to be more emotionally available. I've learned to be honest and communicate my feelings. Uh, I've learned to tell the truth, and I've learned. Um, Ooh, sorry, I kicked my table. I think that's about it. I've learned a lot of lessons and have matured emotionally over these past couple of years. But most of which are just coming from being able to communicate. Doing my best to communicate, being okay with my emotions and accepting my emotions. You know, I'm a big crier, and yeah, uh, yeah, that's essentially it. Toes. Yeah, sure if they want. What's a deal breaker for you? Um, I'm a big fan of second chances. I guess cheating is would be. Selfishness, I guess, is a deal breaker. Humor is a big deal breaker. If I don't find you funny, I think it's just awkward to spend time with somebody I don't find funny. But I can hang out with people that, I mean, I could be friends with people who aren't funny. I'm fine with that. Um, but when I'm spending a large amount of time, I feel like I need to feel like I'm having fun and that like I'm enjoying my time because I enjoy times with friends who aren't funny or people I guess I should say who aren't funny, but like I don't really care because it's not like I'm devoting a lot of time and stuff, but I feel like a relationship is a big commitment and I have to feel like I'm enjoying a lot of the time I'm spending, you know. And I mean, like, they might not find me funny and that might not be a deal breaker for you, but humor is really important. I can't just fake laugh my way through multiple dates and stuff like that. um, yeah, humor's a good one. Obviously, you know, loyalty. Um, Hygiene, I guess, is a good one, dude. I don't like when people smell bad. I smell bad a lot too, but you know, you shouldn't smell bad. Kidding, kidding. I don't smell bad. What's a hopeless relationship? My God, we're getting deep with these. Um, just one that has no seeable future. I mean, when somebody is, again, another deal breaker might be just like hard headedness, like someone who just can't accept something or see something in another way. It's just a lost cause, you know. Like, and there's some things people can definitely see differently, and it's okay or whatever, you know. Like shows or favorite colors or movies, like things that are obviously subjective. But when it comes to like people and wanting to see and wanting to understand each other. Again, human flaw. We're not ever gonna 100% understand each other. But when people don't try to understand or you know aren't compassionate enough to comprehend or even make an effort to care, then you know that's kind of hopeless. And it's like talking to a brick wall, essentially. Yeah. How often do you and your partner fight? Um, It's not super often. I mean, I don't even have a partner. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. When I was in relationships, I don't think me and my partners fought often. I feel like I was not confrontational. I avoided problems at all causes, and I wouldn't really deal with any problems. And then when problems arose, he would like sort of burst and be out of control. I couldn't communicate well because I was emotionally unavailable. I couldn't speak out how I was feeling and all that stuff. Okay, that was fucking weird. I literally just heard a fucking phantom knock at my door. I went to go answer it and nobody was there. What the fuck? Anyways, yeah, not very often, but when we did, when either of my exes and I would have like a argument or a fight or anything like that, it would just blow up and uh, would be bad. Define cheating. I mean, like doing or saying anything with any like malicious intent. Is malicious the right word? Uh, I don't know. When you do or say anything that you understand could have repercussions or could insinuate anything or can be taken a certain way, you know that could be seen as making some advancements. Uh, yeah, that's cheating. Obviously, physically going out of your way to cheat. Let's tackle the whole double standard of um, like the whole idea of like guys being into like lesbians and stuff like that, and then like the question of like, oh, if your girl like kisses another girl, is that cheating? Yeah, I would see that as cheating. I mean, like it's one thing if it's like your girlfriend, you know, that like your friend, but if it's just like you know like you're drunk one night and then like kissing a girl, like woo, like yeah, we're cool. Like I don't know, that doesn't sit right with me. And I can see why, like some guys would be like, "Oh, like that's hot or whatever. That's cool. It's not like she wants to do anything with them." And it's like, I don't know, but she kissed them. That like, did she? she did want to do that with them, you know, what's stopping them from wanting something else, you know. I don't know why I said else like that. It was weird. I don't know any like anything that can be seen as an advancement or something that can insinuate or be taken as that could lead to something else more like sexually or romantically or you know anything along the lines of that I would consider cheating. Um, okay. Oh my God, there's so many. Do you prefer dating or being in a relationship? Um, Relationship. I think you get sort of lazy and comfortable in relationships, and I think I like that. One thing I said with my friend Brooklyn last podcast is I like getting to know somebody, knowing their ticks, and getting so comfortable and familiar with somebody that it's almost second nature to understand the way that they think. Super sweet. It's super nice to just like when I'm hanging, like this is just an example of friends, but let's say I'm like hanging with friends, and then one of my friends. This is a great example of it actually. Last night I was in a phone call for some friends and in Discord, and we were listening to a podcast, and an example came up of something, and then my friend Isai was like, "Oh, that's sort of like a oh wait, never mind, I'm not gonna say it." And I knew exactly what he was referring to. I just knew exactly what he was referring to, and I was like, "Oh, like this situation," and he was like, "Oh, how did you know? How did you know what I was gonna say? How did you know what I was gonna say if I was like get it?" Like that made me feel great. That made me feel super like warm-hearted. I wanted to tell him I love you in that situation. I was like, "Oh, dude, I love that I know that about you," you know. Um, but yeah, just when you get familiar with somebody like that, it's like some of the most wholesome, best moments. And in relationships, sure, dating is cool. You get the rush of like getting to know somebody and like the nervousness of like, oh, is this gonna work out? And you get to go on fun little dates and get to know each other, all that good shit. But when you already know a lot about each other and you're only getting to know more and you're only experiencing more together, it's just something so unbeatable about that. These sex bots on Snapchat keep messaging me. What's the best moment you've had in a past relationship? I think there was a rock. No, there was a piano by where I used to go to high school, and sometimes I'd go to it and I'd just go and fiddle and play on it after school for like no more than like 20 minutes, and then I'd go home and stuff. And when I was in a relationship, one day they accompanied me, or a couple days they accompanied me, and I made a piece on the piano, and I showed them like some other songs that I was working on, and I was able to fully explain like what was going through my head or what I thought about each stroke. Oh my god! Every note I played and why it sounded the way it did and what I wanted to convey. And they seemed super into it, and they really liked it, and they appreciated it coming from like an artistic standpoint and a lyrical standpoint and all that. So I felt like I was completely vulnerable and not vulnerable. I felt like I was completely transparent, and they could see through me, and they were seeing and understanding, and almost like borderline looking into my soul and being like, "This is how you think about this," and seeing how I portrayed it, and they were understanding of that, and they appreciated it, and they liked it. I think that was one of the best moments. I was just playing piano, playing some pieces that I had written, and just explaining it to them, and they just like got it like that, they just understood it, and it made me feel like seen, and that was probably one of the best moments. That or like the first time I had sex, because that was also a super raw, like a souls intertwining, bonding, just like a I felt like our souls became one, and we were just like completely ourselves, naked and stripped of anything else that we were stripped of societal norms, stripped of like clothes and labels and brands, and we were just ourselves, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was fantastic. So it was probably one of those two. What's your biggest fear in a relationship? Um, I guess sort of like being played in the sense of like them not actually having loved me, um, which is ironic because in 10th grade I stopped loving my ex, and I didn't tell them because I was too emotionally immature and scared to let go. So super sorry about that. But probably just yeah, somebody falling out of love with me or not loving me and just leading me on. That kind of sucks because not only do you just like lose somebody that you love, that I mean obviously didn't love you back, but not only do you lose somebody that you love, but you also just like I guess it makes you super existential, and you're like, was like what is real? Israel. Shout out Israel. Shout out Palestine. Shout out Israel. Wait, I don't know. I'm a fucking bigot, dude. I'm ignorant, dog. But yeah, just not really just being led on. I guess kind of. When will she come back? Never. Except that she will never come back, and uh, she will never come back. Uh, Sorry, someone had to say it. Can I be a whore and still love someone? Absolutely, you can. You can be a whore and still love somebody. There's definitely somebody out there that will let you be a whore and love them, and you know, I don't know. I don't want to be like it's a phase, but I don't know. Sometimes people just gotta sleep around. People you gotta kiss a couple of frogs, to find your prince. You know what I mean? I still think that's a bad saying. I feel like it should be like, in order to find your prince, you gotta kiss a couple of frogs. But it sounds kind of better the other way. It's still weird. Okay. Anyways, you just gotta. Oh my god, it keeps refreshing the questions and they go to the bottom. Yeah, you can sleep around with people and still be in love with somebody. You can love somebody. I mean, it's love and lust. Ideally, it'd come together in the same person, but you can't stop yourself from lusting from somebody. You can stop yourself from acting on it. Of course, you can stop yourself from, thinking anything further of it than the fact that it's just lust or whatever. And you can love somebody and just have that be like love and that be included with lust, but lust and love, two completely different things. Ideally, you find it in the same person. Here we go. How can a man win you? How can a man win me? Listen to me. Spend time with me. Make obvious movements because I'm scared. Uh, Make me feel reassured. Hold me. Be honest with me. Be vulnerable with me. Open up to me. Listen to me. Very selfish right now, but just because I really need to feel safe in order to be in a relationship right now. What's your ideal relationship? In a relationship. That's my ideal relationship. What's my ideal relationship? Not in a relationship. That's my ideal relationship. I'm probably just gonna put both of those in because either way, it's kind of funny. My ideal relationship right now is just somebody that I completely trust and know, and again, familiarity. That's like the best thing in a relationship for me. Just being comfortable with somebody, just fully, honestly knowing somebody, being almost like you're one. It's just so it's like the best feeling, honestly. Finishing each other's sentences and knowing each other that well to the point where like you're basically them. Yeah, I don't know, just familiarity. It's a big thing. Almost being like one, like you're one big person. I don't know. It's the best when you feel like you're two halves of a whole because you feel like you complete each other and it's just nice, sweet, wholesome. I guess that's the ideal relationship, like the amount of trust and love just being reciprocated and feeling like you're one together. Do you love someone? I love my mama and my bed. Fuck, I said that wrong. I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry, yo. I love my family members. I love them to death. Even like my cousin that annoys me, I give him shit and stuff like that. I love them to death. I love them. Um, love anybody. I mean, I love all my friends like so much, but love someone like probably in the traditional term that you're thinking of. No, I don't think so. I thought I did, uh, and I irrationally love somebody, and but I like rationally, like 99% of me understands that that's not going to happen, and I'm well over it at this point. But there's still sometimes when it comes back, and like it hurts and stuff like that. But I think I've learned to deal with that properly, and be realistic about things. And so no, I don't love anybody, and I'm not looking to love anybody. If it happens though, certainly welcome it, but uh, fought it for a long time, so I'm not surprised that it's not getting to me organically right now because I'm not trying, and I'm avoiding taking that path, so it makes sense. How romantic are you? Not very. Again, I sound like a broken record. I said this in a previous podcast. Like I notice very small, random details, and you can see that as romantic. Just because, like, why do you like remember this thing about me, or why do you remember this thing I said, or how I said I was feeling on this day? It's just I don't know. Random things just stick to me. So if you think like remembering little things from you is romantic, I guess I'm a bit romantic. I'm more lovey-dovey than anything, I'm very soft in relationships. I like being I'm dude, like I'm literally baby dog. I'm literally a baby dog. Baby meat dog. I want mommy, I want milk, I want to be held, I want to be fed, all that good shit. I'm literally a baby dog. Huge mommy issues or daddy issues or both, I don't know. But yeah, love to be babied. So I guess that's also how a man could get me is if he babied me. So and Sugar Mama. So Sugar Mama, if you're looking for me, hit me up. My phone number is. Okay, no, but seriously, I should not put my phone number out there. How do you define love? That's the last question, I think. How do you define love? Love. Sorry, I got all these questions from Instagram, so I just went out of my questions part, or the part where people sent in their answers and stuff, and I went to my home screen, or no, my homepage on Instagram, and I saw Kat again. Again, shout out Kat, the goat. No Kat worked at the MoMA. Awesome. I don't know. Love is such a fucking. Some say love, it is a river that oh, that song is so good. Love is, I don't know. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Shout out if you said that too. I don't know. Love is it's very open ended. Love is feeling like yourself around somebody. Love is being unafraid to be yourself. Love is being unapologetically yourself with somebody. Love is knowing that no matter what you say or do, somebody will be there on your side. Love is knowing that someone wants the best for you. Love is knowing. Love could be a lot of things, dog. Dude, love is somebody giving you half of their sandwich when they're hungry, man. Like love is putting. Love is like finding a couple extra fries at the bottom of your McDonald's bag. Love is finding an extra nugget in your fucking 4-piece. Not too much to the fact where you want more, but just the right amount that you have a good thing going for you. Love is somebody putting their Minecraft bed next to yours. Love is, I'm just going to go on like a 40-minute rant about what love is, just keep giving examples. Love is knowing that no matter what, somebody's going to be there for you and want the best for you. That's, I think, the best way to describe love. Yeah, okay, that being said though, super hard question. I think that's all the questions. All right, everybody, thanks for the questions. Thanks for the questions so much. I loved answering them. If you haven't and you want me to answer some other questions, again, probably not regarding love because that's what this whole episode was about. But if you have questions for me in the future, I might post another Q&A. It doesn't have to be specific. I could just do like an Ask Me Anything sort of episode of the podcast because talking to myself after a while gets a little bit, tedious and a little bit annoying. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. As always, I will catch you guys in the next episode of the podcast. Hopefully, the Angel of Love was able to help you with a couple of love questions you have. Thanks to everybody who asked the questions. And again, I hope that was at least remotely helpful, whether that be giving you a laugh, whether that be legitimate advice, or whether that be making fun of me and getting another perspective on things, perhaps. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.